Yo, man. What's good, YouTube, man? It's your boy, McCount Naps. Mr. Nappy here. Boy, man, look. We got how good was Troy Polamalu actually. If you're new, man, hit the like button, subscribe, and share, man, and let's get into this video.
Lou was never supposed to make the NFL, let alone go to college. Combine that with the fact that he only grew to be a 5'10" safety, and you get a true underdog story. But even though Polamalu beat the odds by just making it to the league, how good was he actually? Before he was even born, Polamalu's family was on the edge of falling apart. As the fifth kid born into the family, his dad left before he was old enough to even remember. With his dad no longer in the picture, Polamalu's mom faced a nearly impossible challenge of raising 5 kids by herself. Despite doing the best she could, Troy spent the first 9 years of his life as a self-described city rat in California. As the family survived on welfare, Polamalu's older siblings were an awful influence for young Troy to look up to. Polamalu has said, "My sisters had babies in high school. My brother was in and out of jail. I have this picture in my head where, as a kid, I'm just wondering what's going on. I'm in first grade, my brother's in the back seat of a police car, waving for me to open the door. What am I supposed to do?" Troy found himself slowly becoming his siblings, as he was stealing lunch from the grocery store every day and breaking into buildings. Headed down a dark path, his mom sent him to Oregon to visit her brother and his wife, and what was supposed to be an ordinary trip would forever change Polamalu's life. He quickly fell in love with his uncle's family's quiet way of life, and knowing what was waiting for him back in Cali, Polamalu begged his mom to let him stay in Oregon. After she gave in to her son's wishes, Troy found more than just a stable new home. He also unofficially got a new last name, as he started going by his mother's maiden name, Polamalu. As a Polamalu, he learned discipline and was introduced to organized sports for the very first time. Prior to the move, Polamalu had only ever seen sports on TV, but it didn't take long for everyone to see that he was a natural at any sport he picked up. In high school, Polamalu was a 3-sport varsity athlete, excelling in baseball, basketball, and football. He was so talented on the gridiron that he played both offense and defense. As a junior, Polamalu rushed for 1,040 yards with 22 touchdowns and had 310 receiving yards, while
Damn. 22 touchdowns and all that. That's actually good. That's actually pretty good.
also adding in 65 tackles and 8 interceptions. He was so all-around dominant that year that he was named first-team All-State. And Polamalu looked to follow up this impressive season with another one that would firmly establish himself as a top college prospect. But he faced a series of injuries that derailed his senior year just as it got started. Troy played in only 4 games due to a bruised kidney, sprained shoulder, and torn back muscles. Even with the shortened season, though, he still managed to rush for 671 yards and 9 touchdowns, while also snagging 3 interceptions. Despite terrorizing his opponents, Polamalu slipped through the cracks of the national recruiting scene. As a 3-star recruit, he wasn't receiving any attention from top college programs. Once again, it was an uncle who swooped in and seemingly saved Polamalu. His uncle Kennedy was an assistant coach at the University of Southern California, and he convinced USC's head coach to give his nephew a chance by offering Troy a scholarship. Polamalu immediately jumped at the opportunity to stay on the West Coast and play for such a big-name school. He also believed it was fate. With USC's mascot being the Trojan and Troy being the ancient capital of the Trojans, Polamalu said, "I believe God named me Troy for a reason. I was born to come here." While Polamalu was confident he belonged there, as a freshman, he was a backup safety and linebacker. Polamalu made the most of his opportunities. In 8 games, he recorded 12 tackles, 2 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. After developing a reputation as a playmaker on the defensive side of the ball, Polamalu's sophomore season was his first real chance to show the nation he belonged. As USC's starting safety in the season opener, Troy exploded onto the scene with a pick 6. It was his way of emphatically letting everyone know that the plays he made as a freshman were no fluke. He further did this by starting all 12 games for the Trojans and finishing with 83 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, 1 sack, and 2 interceptions. They weren't eye-popping numbers, but the way Polamalu could fly around the field and obliterate a wide receiver—
Remember, he was a freshman doing this. He was only a freshman doing this.
—was eye-opening. His junior season is when he truly put it all together and showed just how high his ceiling was. Polamalu racked up a team-high 118 tackles, 13 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 3 interceptions, 2 pick sixes, 2 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, and 3 blocked punts.
118 tackles, 13, damn.
Looking like Superman out there, there was nothing he couldn't do. As a result, Polamalu won USC's MVP award and was voted first-team All-American. Heading into his final season of college football, he had developed a nationwide reputation for being a game-breaker. Unfortunately for Polamalu, he didn't get the chance to go out with a bang. As for most of his senior year, he battled nagging ankle and knee injuries. But even with a slight dip in production, Polamalu was still named first-team All-American for a second consecutive season, becoming the first Trojan to be a two-time first-team All-American since 1992. He finished his USC career with 278 tackles, 29 tackles for loss, 6 interceptions, 4 blocked punts, and 3 touchdowns. With Polamalu having cemented his status as a school legend, he shifted his sights on making the jump to the next level with the 2003 NFL Draft. But he wasn't able to
2003 NFL. Damn, I did not know that.
sell himself as a top prospect like everyone else. A bad knee forced him to miss the Senior Bowl and NFL Draft Combine. Standing at 5'10" and weighing just over 200 pounds, Polamalu was far from the ideal mold of an NFL safety, and as a result had his fair share of doubters. So his bad knee served as ammo for the haters, who thought he was too small or not durable enough to succeed in the league. Ahead of the draft, he was projected to be a late first or early second round pick, but one team disagreed with these evaluations and saw something special in him, so much so that they weren't willing to risk letting anyone else steal him. It was a selection that was met with plenty of backlash.
The Pittsburgh Steelers select Troy Polamalu, safety from Southern California.
Troy Polamalu. Get his name right, all right?
Doubted Polamalu's talent, but not everyone was sold on his ability to stay healthy or make plays with bigger and better athletes. He was viewed as a great college football player who may be too aggressive and undersized for the next level. Polamalu hoped his rookie season would be a chance to prove these people wrong, but he never really got the chance. He didn't start a single game and was the Steelers' backup safety while primarily playing on special teams. But after that year, Pittsburgh fired their defensive coordinator, so Troy had a fresh opportunity to impress a new coach and convince him he deserved to be more than just a special teams player. And that's exactly what he did, as ahead of the 2004 season, Polamalu was named the team's starting strong safety. Under new defensive coordinator Dick LeBeau, that season served as Polamalu's NFL coming out party. He shined in the new system, starting all 16 games and racking up 97 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 5 interceptions, and 1 touchdown. Polamalu anchored a defense that propelled Pittsburgh to a 15-1 regular season record. Then, in his first career playoff game, he had an interception before the Steelers fell in the next round to the eventual Super Bowl champion Patriots. Despite the season's disappointing end, it was still a special season for Polamalu, as he made the Pro Bowl for the first time. He followed up that year with an equally as impressive one, finishing with 92 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, and 2 interceptions. Along with making his second consecutive Pro Bowl, Polamalu was named a first-team All-Pro, and that season became one he'll never forget. For the first time in over 25 years, the Steelers won the Super Bowl. With his fearless playing style and lead-by-example mentality, he had the Pittsburgh defense looking like the steel curtain from the 70s again. After another Pro Bowl season in 2006, the Steelers decided to lock up their star safety for the foreseeable future, signing Polamalu to a 4-year, $30.19 million contract extension. At the time, the deal made him the highest-paid safety in the entire league. Troy was on.
You gotta remember, that was back then, so that's how much contracts were. Now the contract, if he was playing now, this contract would be like a lot. Like 100 mil or something like that.
Top of the world with this new contract. But it wasn't long before the sky came crashing down. An injury-plagued season in 2007 forced him to play in only 11 games. But he was so good when he played that he was still named to another Pro Bowl, his 4th straight. Thankfully, in 2008, he was healthy and played all 16 games. Polamalu had a career-high 7 interceptions and was named a first-team All-Pro for the second time in his career. He also brought home his second Super Bowl ring. Then, not that anyone doubted Polamalu anymore, but the next season his value was made clear as day. An MCL injury forced him to play in only 5 games, and the Steelers' defense fell completely apart without him. In 2008, Pittsburgh's D was first in the league in both points allowed and passing yards. Then, in 2009, without his leadership and playmaking abilities, they fell to 12th in points allowed and 16th in passing yards.
Steelers don't scare anybody. They don't intimidate anybody. They look soft as cottonelle tissue.
Coming back in 2010, Polamalu was determined to bounce back stronger than ever and remind everyone just how insanely dominant he is when healthy.
Intercepted by Polamalu. 2 games played.
He went on to lead his
So y'all gotta understand, I'm a Ravens fan, but I give my props to Troy Polamalu. He was a real dog, but he played for the ops. Steelers, man.
team back to the Super Bowl with 7 interceptions as he was named first-team All-Pro for a 3rd time and won AP Defensive Player of the Year. The following year brought more of the same, as Polamalu finished with 93 tackles and was named first-team All-Pro yet again. It seemed like nothing could stop Troy until the 2012 season showed otherwise. While there were conflicting reports about whether he suffered a severe calf strain or tear, Polamalu only played in 7 games due to the injury. People thought Troy's body was falling apart with age and that he wouldn't be able to consistently produce at a high level anymore. Then the discussions began about the Steelers starting to find his replacement. So, what did Polamalu do in 2013? He went out and played all 16 games as he was named to his 8th Pro Bowl. But the following season didn't come with the same happy ending. He battled through a knee sprain and was only able to play 12 games. It was a reminder that he was indeed human and was losing the battle against Father Time. Years of treating opponents like crash dummies and throwing caution to the wind with his body had finally caught
him. See, that's the thing, is when you have injuries and injuries to his knee, is gonna, once you get older, it's gonna give out, bro, because you mess it up so much, you get injured so much that you can't really do anything. But that's how Cooper Bryant had to retire in 2016, RP him, and RP to Alden Pesci, RP Gigi, man. Once you get injured, bro, it's kind of hard to come back from that, bro.
Caught up with him. During that offseason, Polamalu realized this and decided it was time to hang up his cleats for good. In April of 2015, he retired from the game of football. Over the course of his storied 12-year career, he totaled 770 tackles, 56 tackles for loss, 32 interceptions, 14 forced fumbles, 7 fumble recoveries, and 3 touchdowns. With 2 Super Bowl rings, 4 first-team All-Pro nominations, and 8 Pro Bowls, Polamalu had established himself as one of the most feared and respected defensive players of his generation. And nothing proved this to be more true than in 2020, when he was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in just his first year of eligibility. Polamalu's long hair flowing out of the back of his helmet, flying around making plays and hitting anything that moved, will live in football lore forever.
Hey, that's facts, though. Troy Polamalu was a good safety, bro. Just the injuries was messing him up, to be honest. But if you guys like that video, man, y'all comment down below what y'all think, really. And I'll see y'all in to the next one.